Hi everyone, my name is Addie Fecker, and today I'm going to be talking about my study on the influence of sensory conditions on social behavior and brain activity in zebrafish. So zebrafish are highly social animals, and so they're a great model for studying social behavior. Our previous work in our lab has shown that the forebrain of the zebrafish is most important for controlling social behavior. My question in this study was, which sensory systems are important for social behavior, and how does sensory input affect brain activity? So we answer the first question by measuring behavior in an open field. We look at orienting behavior, where fish are turned towards each other. We look at following behavior, where fish are swimming in a parallel fashion next to each other. And we look at dispersing behavior, where fish are swimming away from each other. At the same time, we can also experimentally manipulate the sensory input of the fish in the study. So we can ablate the visual system by recording the behavior in the dark. We can affect the mechanosensory input of the fish, which is how they sense water pressure, how they feel current, their kind of version of a tactile sense. We can affect that by killing the cells along their lateral line, which are the cells that allow for this mechanosensation. And then to answer the second part of the question, we can look at brain activity in these fish using phospho-ERK protein. And you can see we are able to achieve what the average signal looks like in the forebrain when fish are alone, so in this average lone brain. And we can also see what the average signal looks like when fish are in a social condition. And you can already see that, yes, there is more activation in the telencephalon, or the forebrain of the zebrafish, when they are in a social condition. And from that, we can go further and identify the regions of the forebrain that are solely active when fish are social. And you can see this kind of anterior part of the telencephalon is particularly active. So when we look at our results from the behavior data, we can see that when fish are in the blind condition, when they're in the dark, there are significant changes to all three behaviors. So we see less orienting behavior, we see less following behavior, and more dispersing behavior. However, when we ablate the lateral line and affect mechanosensation, we don't see any changes in the three behaviors that we measured. So we can conclude that social behavior is visually driven and mechanosensation is not really playing a role. When we look at brain activity, we see again the social control fish, the fish that have vision intact and have their lateral line intact and are being social. They have greater telencephalon activity than fish that are alone or fish that are in the dark. So again, it kind of points to this importance of visual input. And looking at the social only region that we identified, we can see, yes, indeed, fish that are in the social condition have greater mean intensity in this region, which confirms that this is the region important for social behavior. And so we can conclude from our results that social behavior is visually driven. When we lose our visual input, there's much less orienting and following behavior and not much change from mechanosensation. We also can conclude that fish that are in the social condition have a greater activity in the forebrain than fish that are by themselves, but vision is definitely an important component of that. And then we can also conclude from our social only region that the location of activity points to regions that are important for memory or learning. And in order to flesh out these ideas more clearly, we want to continue to manipulate the sensory systems. We want to explore olfaction. We want to explore more unbiased clustering methods for analyzing behavior, so we can look at more behaviors than just the three that we measured. And we also want to analyze our brain activity in 3 dimensions so that we can understand what anatomical regions of the brain are important beyond just location-wise what's important.